Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivakaracharya Sutara Shishimari Sivangri Saisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasad Putale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namani Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatari. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming this morning for this final session. Yes, as when that mother was saying, I had to leave because of the airport closure in Houston. We don't know when they'll open because they don't have the snow plows and all those in Texas. It's always too hot. Yeah. So anyway, we will continue. This is the final part of the patience, tolerance, and forbearance, and we ended in this slide yesterday. So in this particular one, we are looking at Bali Maharaj, who's been wrapped up, and Lord Vamanadev actually is speaking in this particular section, 8th canto, chapter 22. You can look up the verses. So Vamanadev is saying, although bereft of his riches, fallen from his original position, defeated and arrested by his enemies, rebuked and deserted by his relatives and friends, although suffering the pain of being bound, and although rebuked and cursed by his spiritual master, Bali Maharaj, being fixed in his vow, did not give up his truthfulness. It was certainly with pretension that I spoke about religious principles, but he did not give up religious principles, for he is true to his word. So this was a test by the Lord on Bali Maharaj, and we can see that the Lord is very pleased with him because he passed the test. And this is further proof of the Lord's mercy towards his devotees. What does it mean? It means sometimes the Lord will put us in severe tests also. So we have to be tolerant, patient, and forbear. Now you may think, how do I know this is a test of the Lord, right? So then you have to consult with senior devotees, and ask them, I'm going through this, it's been going on for some time, what to do? And then they'll say, all right, let's see, continue. Then if it's going for a long time, then maybe they will try to figure out what the true cause of the problem is. It could be sometimes we may have to go through, and therefore then you have to just bear with it. Maybe our karma catches up and you can't do anything about it, right? If you know your Bhagavad Gita in the 8th chapter, our body is the result of the past karma, right? So just because we become devotee doesn't mean we change body immediately. So whatever the body is, we are stuck with it. So that's it. So you can't do much about it. So you can't go to your spiritual master and say, I have this body, what to do? Chant Hare Krishna. Continue. Simple, actually, So what Bali Maharaj went through is very severe, extremely severe. So Prabhupada says sometimes the Lord will put us through very severe tests and it's unbearable. It'll be so unbearable. And I mentioned yesterday, some devotees, when they can't take it, they may abandon the whole practice. So we have to be very observant in our lives, what situation we go through. We can't keep quiet about it, because intellectually you can use your intelligence to say, okay, this is the reason, but emotionally you may not be able to handle it. And so you need guidance, you need a lot of support to go through sometimes difficulties. So we see here, he endured so many tests, and he accepted that. Never did he say, this is not proper, I'll go against it. Never once does he say that. So therefore, Prabhupada explains, in the purport, Prabhupada says that the Supreme Lord actually appreciates the devotee's forbearance. So the Lord tests you, make you suffer, then he says, good on you. You're doing good. Why? Because we have faith that the Lord will protect us. Yeah, He's our maintainer, We have to have that understanding and faith also. It's a test of faith always. Every day is a test of your faith. Yeah, so the Lord becomes very pleased when you go through difficult situations without giving up hope on Him. So we have to cultivate that kind of faith with the Lord. It's not just book knowledge, we have to actually practice those things. Every day is a test, as I mentioned earlier. You'll see that different types of problems will come in your life. Now, if you avoid the problem, thinking it'll go away, it may go away, but it'll come back again some other time. Have you noticed that? And when you face the problem, then the problem will then go away properly. Sometimes you will avoid a problem for many years. It always keeps coming back. And then when you are ready to face it, the problem goes away. Then you're like, what? Because the Lord is testing us sometimes. He's saying, are you willing to surrender? Yeah. Why is He testing? Because He's building strength in us. The whole idea is to build strength. So that we can go through this material existence. This material world is very ruthless, very harsh place. And we cannot think it's so nice and cozy, You go out there now, you walk outside. This is reality actually. I wonder why people even move to such places. What to speak of this place, Canada, and sometimes it's interesting. All right, so this is Bali Maharaj. It's a good example. The next personality is, everybody knows, it's Lord Jesus. And Srila Prabhupada spoke this in New York in 1966. Who's a saint? And then he defines a saint. A saint is tolerant, very tolerant to the utmost. So sometimes we want to help people, we want to represent Srila Prabhupada, and we must also be tolerant like Srila Prabhupada. So much he went through, right? So we should at least be tolerant. Srila Prabhupada was tolerant to the utmost. We should at least tolerate some inconveniences in our life. So Prabhupada says, you have got a very good example in Lord Jesus Christ, a great saint or sadhu. Of course, he was more than a sadhu. not just see his behavior, how much tolerant he was. He was being crucified and he was praying to God, "Oh Lord, forgive these people for what they are doing." This is the significance of sadhu. Titikshava karunikaha. Which I mentioned this verse yesterday also, because that particular verse is very significant. For other people's sake, the sadhus, they are always very tolerant and they are very kind to all people. Why are they tolerant and kind? Because the whole goal is to raise the consciousness of the individuals you're meeting to a higher level. So therefore sometimes they are new, they are ignorant, they don't know, Sometimes you see people eat with left hand, right hand, even any hand they want to use. Pass from left to right, right to right. Of course it's not a major problem, but still, we may tell them it's not good because it's not so auspicious, so eat with your right hand, and then it's a difficult thing for them. All their life it was the left hand, now you're denying that. So they have to give up some things. So you'll see them again doing it, and then you shouldn't get disturbed. Mostly it is our example that creates an opportunity to help another person. Meaning, if you do it nicely, they become very happy to see that this person is so nice. He or she is doing so many wonderful things. And so they will become close to you because they want that kind of relationship. They want to have a relationship with a nice person. And it's normal. It's very common, right? We pick and choose people. So if we show that kind of qualities, naturally people will be attracted. And so even if they have bad qualities, because they see you doing properly, they will imitate you. Right? Like little kids or child in your home, the father will wear his shoes, the child will sit next to the father and also imitate, like that. Right? You see little children play mummy and daddy things, and so, yeah. So this is how Lord Jesus Christ was, very tolerant, kind to all the people, all living entities, very kind. Prabhupada emphasizes so many times. In spite of all their disadvantages, they try to give something, real knowledge to the people in general, karunika. Yeah. Right? Sometimes you teach mathematics to some students, especially calculus. A lot of kids find it hard in high school and so on. But through practice, they become good at it. Yeah. So the same way, we should be tolerant because we want to help people. Prabhupada says, only a devotee can tolerate. And this is in verse 70 of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever been filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. As long as we have this material body, there's a lot of demands. That's the nature of this material body. A lot of demands of the body. The body wants sense gratification. The mind also wants to enjoy those senses, and the senses also want to enjoy themselves. But a devotee is not disturbed by the senses or such desires because he is full in his Krishna consciousness, full in his service attitude. You will find over the years that when you look back at your life, you'll see you've given up so much and you never thought about it. And so therefore you should reflect, I've given up, but where was I before I first came? And therefore, through that same way, we should treat newcomers. Yeah, they are now there, I'm here 40 years, right, still struggling. So then you can say, what's wrong if they are struggling when they are new? So we have to develop that compassion. that attitude, no? Because Krishna is the maintainer, He is the supplier of everyone. Whatever we need, actually, is Krishna supplying through our karma, right? According portions, everybody gets what they deserve. Therefore, when we understand that the Lord can supply anything, the Lord doesn't actually therefore need anything from us. Similarly, a devotee, because he has Krishna, he actually doesn't need anything. Because Krishna can give him anything he needs. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked something about, like whether he can read the mind of a disciple or not. I'm paraphrasing. So then Prabhupada replied, my Guru Maharaj mentioned this. So Prabhupada replied, well, not like that. That if I need to know, Krishna will tell me. Or Krishna will reveal it to me. Sometimes a disciple may be doing nonsense thinking the Guru won't know, but somehow it will come to the Guru's attention. Through your behavior, through how you speak, through your action, someone will tell the spiritual man, this guy has problems. And the Guru will know he's not following properly. But once you are properly situated, there was another incident also. They were asking about Prabhupada, about sex desire. Prabhupada said, well, I get it also, but I don't pay attention. So devotee means desires will come like waves of water comes. Waves of waters and river, it just flows in. But he is not disturbed because he has no desire for it. He has a higher taste. Higher taste, yeah. Now I'm putting up this personality because we all think we can tolerate something, but actually he is the one who tolerates the most, the Paramatma. Yeah. Because he's in all our bodies, every creature, every element in the universe, and he has to tolerate. How much does he tolerate? How much he's worried, right? This person is abusing the body, that one is doing some nonsense, committing suicide, so many nonsense going on, and the Lord is peacefully observing. He tolerates unlimitedly. And then what? The Mayavadi is abusing him somehow. He still tolerates in their body. Atheist, there's no God and he's in the heart, listening, oh my God. Right? So we think we tolerate a lot, but actually the Lord tolerates far more than all of us. Alright, some quick tips for cultivating tolerance. Accepting that people are different and looking for the positive in them helps us build an attitude of tolerance. These are simple things that you can, you can type it out, paste it on your refrigerator door or somewhere, that every time you look, when you meet people you don't like, then you look at this verse. The whole thing is you have to change the way you see things. If you see materially, then you're going to be in trouble. You have to see, I'm a spiritual person, this is a spiritual person stuck in a material problem. And if I'm also going to come from the material level, then we're never going to solve the issue. Rather, I should see it from a spiritual point of view, then I'll feel compassion for the other person. Because the person is in ignorance, right? Then you have to feel compassionate. That's why they're acting in unfavorable way. So how to help them? You see they are positive and encourage them. Yeah, that's okay. They will say, I can't chant. That's okay. The fact that you're trying is great. Wonderful. Yeah. I can't do 16. Well, how many can you do? 1. Okay, do that. We'll talk in a few weeks. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing good. Okay, increase. Yeah, right? We have to encourage people. Nowadays it's so much difficult than maybe 50 years ago. Right? 50 years ago, people were looking for spiritual life. A lot more than now, no? Now they all have so much sense enjoyment everywhere, as I mentioned. Okay, so the other one is the golden rule. Treat others how you would like to be treated. Right? Do unto others what you would like others to do unto you. And the last one, one's true perfection lies in their ability to know and accept their personal imperfections. Reflection. Don't forget that anything is possible and you can achieve it. Right? You should know your own shortcomings. You should know it's good for all of us, then we can act on it. Knowing your shortcomings means you own your problem. And then you're open to suggestions for improvement. Vaishnavas means we are open for good instruction so that I can become a better devotee. So we act on that platform. All right, so finally we are coming to what I mentioned on the first day, how to correct others. You don't go and put a mark on people. Right, Prabhupada wrote a letter to Hansadutta Prabhu, and he said, he's saying to correct also, that means you have to have certain qualification. Devotee means he is able to tolerate all kinds of discomfort and whims of the material nature, and because he is too much absorbed in serving Krishna, he takes no time to become angry or take offense with others or find out some fault. Right? He takes no time to become angry. So be aware of that point. Don't get angry. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Or take offense with others. So don't get offended by others also. Because this is the material world. Unless you are very clear about the fact that in the material world everyone will find faults. So someone will shout at you, we need to practice so that we don't take offense immediately. Or find out some fault. Because they found fault in you, you wait for them to make a mistake. And then you become joyful. Right? The whole process of Krishna consciousness is to make you joyful doing devotional service, not joyful finding faults. Right? Now I found a mistake. I found out. I'm now liberated. Okay, so let's see how to correct people. First thing, when we correct, are we criticizing or are we actually correcting? What's the difference? When you criticize a person, it pollutes your heart. Now why? Because generally when we criticize someone, we want to put them down. So it stems from envy. Therefore it pollutes the heart. But when you're criticizing to uplift them, then that's not considered bad. Of course, the word criticism is now lost its original meaning. Right? Now anyone who says, I criticize you means immediately it's an offense. No, actually to critique something means to highlight what you can improve, basically. But it's now a term in ISKCON language, criticism means offensive. So we can say someone is correcting me so that I can get better in my service, in my attitude, but it's for my improvement. Qualities and factors needed for correcting others. All right, everyone needs to have a certain level of qualification before you can correct another person. You can't just go, to each person and correct as you wish. It doesn't work like that. So, firstly, if you want to correct someone, look at yourself and ask yourself: are you acting on an envious platform or non-envious platform? What is motivating you? You have to search in your heart. I want to tell this devotee these things because this is wrong. But you have to ask yourself, why am I doing it? Maybe someone else can do it, but why are you doing it? What is your reason for wanting to correct someone? Maybe you want to, control the person. Right? We want to control, we want to own person. We try to own people until we burn them. Don't try to own, because you will burn also. So don't be envious when you want to correct someone. Just like when a parent corrects a child, it's out of love. So similarly, when we correct or help someone, it should be out of affection for them, or for their self-improvement. All right. The second one is desirous to practically assist the devotee in their Krishna consciousness. I want to see this person do well, right? Like having these seminars and so on. The whole desire is to improve the consciousness of all the devotees. That's proper, but not to put them down. That's not our goal. All right, and the third one must be in a position spiritually or managerially which justifies or necessitates such intervention. Right? So, not anyone can go and correct anyone. Maybe the managers can come and say, so you have to give them credit for that. Yes, you're a manager, I will listen. Otherwise, it'll be chaos. No one can help anyone. So either you're spiritually in the position or managerially in the position. Then you have to listen. Otherwise we can't run a temple, we can't run even any organization, there is hierarchy. Okay? Or be personally requested by the devotee to help them in their difficulty. Now this is tricky because even if someone asks you, you should ask yourself, am I actually able to help this person? That's the right attitude. Instead of immediately thinking, they are asking me, I'm God's gift to the entire universe. I now can save everyone, No, you should think, will I say the right thing? Would I actually help them? Generally, we will want not to take that role. We want someone else to guide. Everybody wants to be a guru, but you end up becoming a kangaroo. You keep jumping to some other thing. And finally, the devotee offering correction must be practicing what they preach. Practice what you preach. This is very straightforward. Practice what you preach. Otherwise, don't open your mouth or don't say any damn thing, right? Okay, we'll continue. Methods of correction, how to correct. First, you correct by personal example and association. This is most important for actually parents. When you set good example, the child will recognize that. But if you don't do it properly and then you tell your child, don't do what I'm doing, do what I'm telling you to do, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So the child will wait for an opportune time to do what you told them not to do. It's a classic thing, it always happens that way. So be exemplary, that's what it is. Srila Prabhupada was very exemplary. Yeah? So we also want to, which is why I said if you do good examples in the temple, then newcomers, when they see good examples, then they feel enlivened. And then they'll feel, I can do it also. Otherwise they will think, oh, this is so difficult. So do by example, but you are strict with yourself, but you are lenient with others. And if they say, I can't do it, no problem, don't worry, you will get there. Then they'll feel that you are their well-wisher, you have loving affection for them. Don't worry, just come to my place and take prasadam. Like that. Guide the devotee to the shelter of a more advanced devotee. So this is humility. Right? Remember in the earlier thing, if they ask you personally to help, you should think, can I help this person? No, maybe I can't, or I may give the wrong guidance. So then say, come, I'll take you to someone who can really help you. That's okay. It's vitamin D. Yeah, okay, yeah, I understand, yeah. It might. All right. Guide the devotee to the shelter of a more advanced devotee, right? Let's say you think you know the answer and how to help, and you give the instruction, and then the devotee tries it out and it becomes worse. Then the person will turn around and blame you. Do you want that? So better to be the servant and push, go, you go. Ask this devotee, they'll give you good advice. Yeah. Of course, ultimately if they keep coming to you, then you should take a humble position, meditate on your spiritual master, meditate on the deities and say, please allow me to speak that which will help this person. That's humility, and that's so good, because then you are taking that position and the Lord will give you the right intelligence to say. Have you experienced that after many years you meet someone, they say, hey, you told me this thing and now I did it and and you're like, who are you, man? Where are you coming from? So yeah, I've experienced a few times and I'm like, who is this person? I never met them before, People change, right? Yeah. But it means that we have to always be speaking from the scripture as given to us by Srila Prabhupada. That way we won't go wrong. Huh? The third one and the final one is a junior devotee should not personally attempt to correct another devotee. If they are senior also, he should reveal his heart to a senior devotee whom he feels at ease with and seek his assistance or advice to adjust the situation. So you're a junior devotee, you see some senior devotee doing something wrong, you don't go and try to correct them. Instead you find someone who's their peer. And then you go to them and then you say, I saw this devotee who's senior doing this, and I want to just put it out so that you know and you can take some action. Huh? We should be like that. Of course, then you have to also say, please don't tell my name. Right? We're always afraid. Say, this is what I saw. Don't be afraid. If it's the truth, Krishna will protect you. Yeah. Harsh words and actions have no place in correcting a sincere devotee. So the way we correct, we shouldn't become angry and use harsh words. He wants to destroy the ignorance in the heart of a devotee, not the devotee himself. So we should be sensitive to the person we are talking. If you shout and want to make a point, maybe parents, the old day when we grew up, that's how our parents said, "Get out, do this." But we didn't take any offense because, culture was different. Now you have to be very careful. Now you shout, next day they'll bring a gun and shoot you. That's the new norm. So you have to be careful. So more so you should practice these things. You're laughing. That was in 20, maybe 35 years ago in Houston. There was this, congregation member. He was he had a auto shop. So he was employing a few people. And in one of the person, he was very harsh. Always scolding them, "Oh, you people are like this, you are this kind of people, blah, 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 blah." Very nasty, And they work hard and he's making money, but every day he was saying. So one day the employee came to the home, and then the guy said, "Why you come here, blah, blah, blah." Then he took out his rifle, boom, he killed him. True life. And then he told the wife, "Call the cops." The cops came, arrested him. They asked why. He said, "I can't stand this guy anymore." Yeah, that's extreme. I don't think you should be like that, but just saying, it can happen, and you should always consider how you're helping a person. Destroy the ignorance, not the person. Okay. If there is some sincere and honest criticism offered, we should be grateful, not upset. Mostly we get upset because of ego. But these are things we are trying to learn now, so we shouldn't get upset. We should be grateful. To react negatively to well-intentioned correction is to manifest false ego. So if you have problem with someone and they want to give criticism to tell you what, you won't accept it. Right? Let's say you had an issue with a devotee, and that devotee is now your manager and he or she is telling you something. You're not going to accept it. You'll say, "No, they're finding faults." What to do? What can you do? You have to take a humble position. Which is why Mahaprabhu always says, "Trinada pisunichena," we have to take the humble position. Or you go back and reflect and see, did the person is honestly saying or not, right? And reflect on those statements they made and then say, maybe they are right. Actually, you'll find there's less burden when you accept it. Immediately the relief is there. Yes, I made a mistake and that's why he's saying it. Krishna has used this person to tell me the truth. So it becomes very easy. An advanced Vaishnava will see each and every correction offered as the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you can tick which one you want. Maybe you can say you're advanced. Or you can say, "I'm not so advanced, I accept it." No, yeah, right? Yeah. And then finally, prevention is better than cure. If all devotees take up the responsibility to develop proper awareness in their devotional behaviors, sadachar, the need for correction will be minimized. So maybe what you can do is you have, refresher courses of activities, like artis, how to do. We go through a seminar and then after 6 months it's all gone, People do what they want. So then you go through the review, Yeah. So do you use peacock feathers in winter time? On the altar? Peacock feather? Yes or no?
No, it's used.
Huh?
In Bangladesh, I've seen that.
They've been used, right? I've seen it a few times. Okay, so that's what I mean. Although you may go through courses, we forget. So therefore there should be refresher courses. And then everyone will remember, yeah. So who is ultimately in control? We have to know that. And he's hiding behind that, you can see. People who think in terms of being co-workers with Krishna but refuse to recognize his supremacy in all things assume the unfortunate position of trying to control everything themselves. Anyone who acts and thinks in this irresponsible way eventually becomes an instrument of chaos. Basically, there is a tendency to want to have power and control. As long as we associate with the material energy, that tendency will come. So therefore, the temptations are there, and we may succumb for the desire for power and control. So therefore, we have to reflect on who's actually in charge. Right? As devotees, we say, yeah, I know the Supreme Lord, but do we really know? Do we really accept that He is the Supreme Lord and I'm just His servant? Reflection is very good. And so when you want to work with others, it should be directed by proper, I use the word love, means, it's an easier word. It means it's directed out of affection, directed because Krishna wants it. So that's how we want to do things, because Krishna wants it, Krishna is happy. And when we understand that, then our impatience and everything will subside. And then you also find that the problems in your life will become lessened. Spiritually conscious people know that ultimately they are not in charge. It is difficult to be patient while idly waiting for something to happen. Patience comes more easily when one can channel energies into important projects. So everyone should be engaged actually. If you don't have any tangible service, ask the temple president or the managers, like, I want to be doing something so that I know I'm connected to Shri Radha Shyamasundar. I want to do something, so your energies are properly processed. Such projects can be as valuable or even more so than whatever was being awaited in the first place. When people are actively involved in creating dynamic events around themselves, they are more able to balance their energies and to be less frantic and impatient. Right? You're involved, everything's balanced, You feel part of this community, I'm helping the community grow. But if you are outside on like a fringe, then you will only become, either you find faults or you won't participate. And that's not healthy for everyone actually. So we should objectively look at ourselves, especially our mind, and see how the mind is amused by absurd things. Right? Sometimes things pop in your head, nonsense, so you should just get out. Yeah, stop disturbing me. The mind is like that. Yeah? As you chant, you'll find that after some time the mind will say, okay, you win, and then 1 month later it comes back and disturbs you. So it's a constant battle. You have to be very wary of the mind. Otherwise, as soon as you forget, it'll take over. My Guru Maharaj told us a story about how, in relation to this. He said one time he was in the train, sitting with Prabhupada, and the train was going in India. And so while the train stopped at a station, an old man came. And he was like, standing in front of my Guru Maharaj. Then the train got packed up with people. Then my Guru Maharaj looked at Prabhupada and he felt sorry for the old man, so he stood up and let the old man sit. But before the old man could sit, a big fat lady came in and sat next to Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada looked at my Guru Maharaj and said, if you give Maya an inch, it'll take everything over. So your mind is like that also. Yeah, if you give the mind an inch, it'll take over. And you'll do all nonsense. So do your best. Do as much as you can. Like sometimes you'll do and you think I've done very well, and then you find, like when you make a project, let's say you baked the cake for Janmashtami and you thought this is the great cake. Then when you brought it there, you find 10 other ladies brought amazing cake. How do you feel? Right? You feel, oh no, but do your best, be detached, What is Krishna looking for? The bhakti, bhaktyamam abhijananti. He really is looking for the love. It's got nothing to do. Remember Maharaj shows Vidura's wife, she was giving peels, banana peels. So the same way, don't worry about it. Do your best. If you start comparing all the time, then you'll never be happy in your devotional life. On the other hand, devotees who consider themselves proprietors and controllers can be impatient and intolerant, viewing themselves as centers around which all things revolve for their personal pleasure. Yeah, this is very straightforward. Okay, finally, laugh at those situations that cause you anxiety. The mind plays trick, yeah. Right? Sometimes it's just nonsense, and then you say, wow, look at this mind, and you can just laugh at it. Why was I so much in anxiety? It was nothing. Unnecessarily you get hyped up for no good reason, right? Many times you think about it, yeah. We become too sensitive to many things, yeah. Okay. Yeah. What is Vaikuntha atmosphere? Prabhupada writes this, it's a letter to Brahmananda. This is called Vaikuntha attitude. In the Vaikuntha, factually there is no fault in anyone, but there is another type of competition. The competition is that one devotee thinks of other devotees, how nicely they are serving the Lord. In the material world, their attitude is that everyone likes to think that I am doing better than others. Continue. This is material conception. In the spiritual sky, it is just the opposite. Everyone thinks that my contemporary devotees are doing better than me. We are trained to address God brothers as Prabhu, which means Master. This means we shall try to find out always the serving side of our God brothers. Sometimes there are misgivings, but we should try to overlook. Small problems we shouldn't make into big issues, And there are a series of different points. Now we are coming to the end of my presentations. We cannot expect that all men will be first class. There may be men in goodness or in passion or in ignorance, but one should always be tolerant and forgiving. In Krishna consciousness, one doesn't really have any connection with this man or that man. He is simply connected to the philosophy and the process of life. It's not this man, that man, no. Prabhupada says on a ship, one may find everyone to his liking, right? Or they may not. In a boat, if you look, yeah. But if he sits down in his own cabin and he takes advantage of the crossing, or he may not have to be disturbed by all of these other personalities. So he's very focused. I have to go to my destination. Otherwise, you are in the ship walking around looking, this person is this, he talk bad, this person is like that. So Prabhupada says you should just sit in your cabin and then take advantage of the crossing. And Prabhupada also says the minor offenses of the others should be taken as forgiven first and taken as penance. And you come in after Mangalarati and pay obeisances, after Tulsi Puja. Panchagopatrabhyasya kripasindubhyevacha. Why do we say that? Because everyone is a Vaishnava. They can give us blessings. That's why we do that. Otherwise, how to chant properly? One may be insulted, but one should never become disturbed by this. This is a saying by Lord Buddha. So one time there's a disciple called Ananda. Lord Buddha asked Ananda, what would he do if he went to a village and start preaching Dharma and the inhabitants became angry and started insulting him? What would he do? And so Ananda replied, oh, I will bless them because for not injuring me. So then Lord Buddha said, okay, then what would you do if they throw stones at you and injured you? Then he replied, oh, I would bless them for not killing me. And then the Lord said, what would you do if they killed you? Then he said, oh, I would bless them for delivering me from this material world. So we will be insulted in many ways. You're going to find that in life. Devotees will insult you. Actually, the insult of a devotee will hurt you more than the insult of a karmi out there. No karmis out there, of outside people, yeah. So therefore you need to understand and be able to, maybe you need to grow a thick skin. Yeah, so that you can handle some insults. Yeah. Prabhu, you fool, you idiot. No. Thank you, Prabhu. Mahaprabhu said he is a fool in front of his guru. And just move on and do your service, yeah. There's a letter to Upendra. Kindly observe the regulated principles, chanting 16 rounds regularly and see that all your other assistants are doing the same. If someone is lacking, try to induce him peacefully. Peacefully means patiently, tolerant. Yeah, everyone needs time, right? Everyone needs space. Krishna, God, is never tolerant of offenses committed at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Kripam Buddhi, a Vaishnava is an ocean of mercy. everyone has desires. Therefore, we worship the Vaishnavas because they are like kalpataru trees. So therefore we say Vancha kalpataru, right? And then they can fulfill our desires to go back to Godhead. The devotee has that power. We think only one or two devotees have power. Actually, every single one of you can give blessings. Do you know that? How powerful you are? If you sincerely want to help someone, you can pray for them. Even you can pray for your enemies. You can pray, my Lord, please make him a pure devotee. Then when he becomes a pure devotee, he will regret being nasty to me. Right? When you become a pure, you say, why did I do that? And again, we'll look at Jesus. Prabhupada emphasized many times, Lord Jesus tolerated so much, even though they crucified him. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing, right? His life, Jesus' life and teachings Prabhupada said, emphasize the importance of forgiveness in Kali Yuga. So we should also follow. He's a Vaishnava. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said he's a Vaishnava. Prabhupada said he's a Vaishnava. Similarly, Lord Krishna says that the wise man is always forgiving and is the same both in pleasure and pain, honor and dishonor. This is in Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam. Maharaj Parikshit, when he was insulted by Shamika Rishi, he insulted Shamika Rishi by placing the snake around the neck. The sage didn't mind when he awoke. He said, the king must have felt that I ignored him, so that's okay. But his son, Shringi, he got really, Prabhupada said he was puffed up, even though he was a little boy. It's like, yeah, man, I'm Brahman, I have power. And then, so he did not forgive. Was it a serious offense? Of course, Krishna is behind the pastime, but still, we should see, was it a really bad offense? It wasn't that bad. Yeah. So in Kali Yuga, the best policy is to, forgive. As far as possible. You cannot hold grudge. Okay, you can't forgive. At the time of death and you're dying, all these devotees will come and you look at them and this, I hate this person, is that what you're going to think? Do you have time to think like that? You shouldn't. Give up. Give up all the grudges. Always give up so that when you see them, you feel joy. In your deathbed, you feel so much joy and love for them and say, this Prabhu came for me. And you'll shed tears. Right? They came. That's how we should feel. So Prabhupada said we should forgive. Unless, of course, they are trying to kill you or something, that's a different matter. But usually, what is the offense they do that you want to hold grudge for the rest of your life? Oh God! Just think of the pakora. And you laugh and then give it up. All right. So from now on, it's just mostly quotes. Prabhupada. This is a conversation. It's an interesting conversation. Prabhupada. There are some difficulty a student is saying to Prabhupada that occurred in Cleveland Temple with some black-skinned devotees there. Srila Prabhupada. That is due to lack of knowledge. You see. These things will go on. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed that we should be a little tolerant. Suppose someone treats you improperly because you have a different colored skin. That is his ignorance. But when you feel insulted, that is also your ignorance. Right? Yeah, so both are in the same modes. So Prabhupada said, don't be in the modes, come out, be transcendental to this. You should know that he has only insulted your skin, not you. So when you associate with something and you're attached to it, then you feel it because you're attached to those material things. So Prabhupada says, don't be attached. He wants us to become transcendental. He continues this discussion. Suppose I say, why are you wearing this blue shirt? I may say that, but it is not very important to you. You may wear a blue shirt or white shirt. It does not matter. You are eternally Krishna's servant. If you keep that consciousness, you won't feel insulted. Sometimes one cannot check such social goings on in the material world. So this has to happen. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Trinadapi sunichena tarurapi saisnana. If we are to go on working, then we have to learn how to be tolerant. Right? If you want to be successful, everyone must give and take. Give something service and take prasadam. This is the purport in chapter 13, the sources of knowledge, 8 to 12. One should learn forbearance even in the face of provocation from others. Forbearance here means you don't retaliate, don't take revenge, okay? Tolerance means that one should be practiced to bear insult and dishonor from others. So, because we are devotees, we are going to face this. That's what Prabhupada is saying, right? Your relatives may not like what you are doing, your friends may not like, so you have to be tolerant. If one is engaged in the advancement of spiritual knowledge, there will be so many insults and much dishonor from others. This is expected because material nature is so constituted. Even a boy like Prahlad, who only 5 years old, was engaged in the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, was endangered when his father became antagonistic to his devotion. The father tried to kill him in so many ways, but Prahlad tolerated him. So there may be many impediments to making advancement in spiritual knowledge, but we should be tolerant and continue our progress with determination. Be determined. No? Don't let someone cut your relationship with Krishna. Actually, no one can cut your relationship with Krishna. You cut your relationship. So don't let anyone disturb you to the point that you don't come or you give up services. This is Holiness Bhaktitirtha Swami. This is what he says in his book, Reflections on Sacred Teachings. One should learn forbearance even in the face of provocation from others. A devotee always maintains a sense of equilibrium in order to reduce anxiety in others, even though he or she may have legitimate reasons to be disturbed. Right? Sometimes we feel so hurt. Sincere devotees meditate continuously about how to assist everyone in this environment. If they are not able to help, they will at least refrain from doing anything to worsen a problematic situation. Genuine devotees cultivate tolerance. They will study a situation to see what actions they can take to assist in a constructive way. Nice what he said, very nice. He was a very tolerant person. All right. Now you get some famous personalities. To lose patience is to lose the battle, right? You can't think of it, you get angry. Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. The results you get being patient, especially in Krishna consciousness, the rewards are nice. There may be times you may feel far from spiritual, but you patiently continue and wait. Because spirituality is not a momentary pause. It's not like that. It's not a momentary emotion. It's ever growing. It's a lifetime. Our spirituality is a lifetime. It's a journey. It's a journey. Yeah. And that's what great acharyas tell us. Persevere, have inspiration. Because whatever we have in our spiritual culture, it is full of inspiration. And there's so much insights by different acharya, by Prabhupada. And it's, once you do it properly, it's amazingly fulfilling actually. Susukam kartum avyayam, yeah. But it's only available to those who are willing to embrace it. And not for the glamorous. We are not here for the glamour. Okay? So therefore, patience in the beginning, it's also like the mode of goodness, no? In the beginning, it's like poison, but at the end, it's like nectar, amrit. Knowing trees, this is amazing. Knowing trees, I understand the meaning of patience. Knowing grass, I appreciate persistence. It's almost like Trenada Visanicca. Yeah, because the trees are tolerating so much patience. Patience is long-term. Long-term, you just tolerate. Tolerate is just short-term. Forbearance is you don't retaliate. Okay? Francis de Sales, have patience with all things, but first of all with yourself. It's a nice quote. And it's a famous artist, Cow. Patience is the road to wisdom. The two hardest tests on the spiritual road are the patience to wait for the right moment and the courage not to be disappointed with what we encounter. Nice, huh? You wait, and then something comes and that's not what you want. It's like you wait for a sale on Black Friday. And you think you want to buy that. As soon as you buy that, they release a new model or something. So you shouldn't feel disappointed. Right? Yeah. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So, thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to all of you. I'm actually very humbled. Yeah. Comments, questions, yeah.
Thank you, Sadhu. I was reflecting on the first slide that you put with Bali Maharaj, and this tolerance that was highlighted in there. It was only a few points, maybe one or two, that was about the circumstances. He lost everything, but many examples in which you have to tolerate in relationship to others.
Yes.
That seems to be a theme that, and in one sense I was also reflecting that this seminar on Vaisnava etiquette has been basically more or less, just highlighting these qualities. I mean, you choose 3 or 4 elements, patience, tolerance, forbearance, and what was the other one? Respect. Well, respect.
Respect, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But, you have this, and in general, remember taking Vaisnava Etiquette courses by His Holiness Bhakti Charupa Maharaj, and it's the do's and don'ts, things like that, how you should behave, common sense in one sense, all these things. But this seminar has been quite something because it's just highlighting. We didn't go into you should not talk to this like that. There was a little reference to it with Sri Swami, but not much. It's on these qualities to cultivate. So, which is quite something because it's all to do in relationship with others. So I wanted to ask you, when you were given this task, okay, Radha Krishna Prabhu, we want you to be part and present, do a seminar for Vaishnava Etiquette, and you choose this, and basically you took, all this time to just stress out these few qualities. How was the process that you came to?
First of all, the topics were given to me, So I didn't pick this. The idea was like, I mentioned this also when I first started the presentation, that Vaisnava Etiquette normally we do is a 15-week course, and it's got to do with the do's and don'ts and how to dress and all those other things. But when I was given this, the theme was Vaikuntha community when I received it. So what does a community do, and what has patience got to do with that, tolerance what to do with that? So in a community, definitely one has to be patient, tolerant, and there's many times you have to forbear difficulties. So with that in mind, whenever I had time to do research, I was traveling anyway, so I did what I could from Prabhupada's books mostly, and a little bit of psychological books, So my aim was to highlight and to identify how one can develop patience in any circumstance. You can take all of this that I presented and you can apply it out there also. So it's very useful for devotees. When we come to a temple, we give up everything that we know or the way we were brought. We think it's okay, now I can do whatever I want, But actually, it's more important that in the association of other like-minded personalities who are pursuing spiritual enlightenment, that we have to be that much more cautious in terms of relationship, in terms of showing our vulnerability, our heart's desire, so that we can help each other and grow and grow. Yeah,
that's quite something. In one sense, what we've been given this weekend was a series of tools to be able to face reality. In one sense, we're very idealistic when we come to Krishna consciousness. Everything is, but then when you face actually a society of devotees in which everything is supposed to be Vaikuntha.
Vaikuntha,
but we actually experience, sometimes people say,
scary.
Actually, out there, people treat themselves better
than here. Yes.
That.
Yeah.
So, without these tools of, especially these ones that you highlighted, they're all
very important.
Basically, reality, you won't be able to survive the process,
day-to-day
devotional service. So it's quite pointed. So I really appreciate this approach because it's very practical. It's the practical application of being able to not
apply.
just follow the protocol of being respectful or,
Yes, yes.
or the do's and don'ts of Vaisnava etiquette, but actually being able to have the tools by which we can actually grow as a community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah. When I was new, I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I was like, wow, devotees are so wonderful. I was thinking, this is amazing. Devotees are so wonderful. So then I had an opportunity to move into the ashram. Then I was like, no, they are not. So I wrote to my spiritual master. I said, this devotee is doing this devotee is doing that. And my spiritual master wrote back and said, that may be true, but why don't you set good examples? And then I was like, wow. So, yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisance. All glory
Accept
to
mine.
Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Prabhupada.
First of
Jai.
all, let me take 1 extra minute to thank you for coming, and that too, with a short time given.
Embarrassing.
Really embarrassing. Living in the temple and especially in the association of His Holiness Radha Krishna Maharaj and your own experiences over the years, I'm sure there is nothing that is left to be seen, and probably all the questions that come to you are like, it's quite obvious, and that's what happens in our temples. For us, this is compared to, I shouldn't compare.
Hold it closer. Yeah.
The community is a young community.
Yes.
And even though it has taken over close to 30 years for His Holiness Prabhupada Swami Maharaj to carefully nurture, and what you see here is the result of that. We don't have Prabhupada disciples or anybody like that here. So when this became a temple, a conscious effort was put, particularly with regard to centered around the deities. As we can see that it's a single altar, small number of deities, and the goal was actually to be able to serve with care and attention rather than somehow or other make it happen. And the deity worship training and supplementing that with Vaisnava etiquette, it was like a much discussed topic, and it evolved out of that, as you already know.
Yeah.
And so underlying all these things, other than teaching the techniques of how to do this or how to do that, the real goal has been to help people to naturally develop Brahminical qualities. And there are certain problems as you know, in the communities of, feelings of entitlements and things like that is there in every community. I don't think this is an exception to the rule either.
Yeah.
But then again, coming back to the purpose of this, is creating this Brahminical culture or nurturing Brahminical culture. And so for that, these kind of trainings plus, we are putting in place trainer for, mature devotees. There are, thank Krishna, we do have some nice devotees.
Yeah.
So assigning that responsibility to a trainer to do the training. But as you said, everybody is in the process of growing, and so naturally there are different shades to this. I'll ask just a simple practical question, one with all this long preamble, but it still is a practical question. Even if you are a very good qualified trainer, and the culture we are going to create in the second initiated group is one of developing this quality of humility and trying to understand that any service even sweeping the floor
Yeah.
is equal to worshipping the deity. But if people resist that, saying I'm preferring only this service, and kind of become antagonistic to the trainer, that you are showing partiality, you are not allowing me to do the same thing that you are allowing somebody else. And that's not at all, actually you can very clearly see the trainer is not in no way showing any partiality. They're trying to develop this culture. So we are in the very beginning, compared to any temples, we are only just barely 2 years.
Right.
At this point, our goal is to set an example or to train the devotees in such a way that you develop that proper culture from the beginning. So when there is so much resistance and so much determination that I will do only this, I'm not going to do that. Now the trainer may be mature, trainer is mature, trying to do whatever they can, but if that thing persists, all this effort, we just waste of time, because it's like talking to a wall and nothing is going in there. We don't want to leave it like that, because especially for me, I feel that when I took a vow in front of the deities, when the deities were installed, it was like make sure their service go uninterrupted in a very peaceful way. If you don't have that peacefulness within the Brahminical group, it defeats the purpose of everything. It's not even a question, it's probably just a venting, or I don't know what to call it.
Well, if I may suggest, it's only a suggestion, you can all decide whether you want to implement it or not. No one gets to get their Brahmin initiation until they go through a series of training, starting from washing pots, cleaning the kitchen, sweeping this floor, right? Going behind the altar, helping out with the jewelries, the clothings, and so on. So if they do that, then the next step is you're ready. Then you get trained as a Brahmin. Then you dress. So everyone must go through that process. Yeah. If you can implement that, then they'll have to go through that. For the newer generation at least. Because sometimes you can't teach old dogs new tricks.
You mentioned that word for the next generation, because this being a new temple, we give initiations.
I understand, I understand. But you see, that's the mistake we keep repeating over everywhere. Every temple does this problem. Yeah, so.
Thank you very much.
Actually, you can't cover it because the sun is very high. Yeah. I can shave. Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for the wonderful seminar this weekend. Really grateful. Prabhu, I had a question from Bali Maharaj's slide. There was a statement in that verse. There was the last statement, I think, from the Lord. I didn't understand that. Could you?
What is the statement? You didn't understand.
At first, it said that Bali Maharaj tolerated everything, even though this happened, that happened to him. He tolerated, and there was a last statement. I don't remember on top of my head. I didn't understand. Yeah, pretentious or something like that.
The Lord was pretentious. Yeah, he was testing Bali Maharaj. So he pretended to be harsh with Bali Maharaj. Yeah. But Bali Maharaj passed the test. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think Mataji asked first. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I feel very fortunate that I'm here in Naperville at this moment, attending the seminar. Very, very grateful. Thank you. Prabhu, the question is about suppression, like suppressing desires. that may come vis-a-vis tolerance. You know, tolerance is what is desired, but and on the other hand, I've heard, you know, if you suppress a certain thing, it can pop up at a later time. So, how do we make sure we are on the safe side? And
I don't think we suppress desires, or let's say illegal desires and positive desire. We don't normally suppress them. We purify those desires properly. First of all, if you follow the principles of devotional service, then you know what desires are proper and what are not proper. And when you have improper desires, then that must be brought out and discussed. And in discussing, then you'll get the knowledge to understand this is wrong, and with intelligence you can push it away, not suppress it. Yeah. So how do you get this intelligence? Your intelligence gets purified through the process of reading Prabhupada's books consistently, not once in a while, because you will forget. Just like we just showed the slide and we forget. Yeah. So continuously read Prabhupada's books. Yeah. And then you'll see your repository of knowledge will grow, and your intelligence can access those knowledge in time of need. And so you know this is bad for me, and it's not suppression. It's an acknowledgement, and it's what we call vijnana. And so that will give you the strength to say, this is not good for me. Because you understand it's not good, why would you pursue it? Yeah. Then parallel with that is your devotional activities, chanting, hearing, all those other things must be done so that you remain at a very pure level. Purity is the force, ultimately, yeah. But unless you follow these activities, you can't attain purity where you can stop illegal desires from. And at the same time, when you do devotional activities properly, you burn away prarabdha karma, aprarabdha karma, all those will be burnt away if you do it sincerely. And you don't create new karma. Okay? Yeah. No, someone, him, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful seminar, actually. And I see it as just a beginning, like all these things are very in depth, and like I was not able to grasp fully. I can go to the recordings and maybe I need to go more and cultivate these qualities, because as you mentioned in one of the slides that for a Brahmana, that these qualities of patience and forbearance and tolerance is the most important thing in one of the Prabhupada's quotes. So
yeah.
It's very thing. And also you mentioned in the initially we discussed that use it or lose it. So
yeah.
I seek your blessings and prayers that I'll be able to apply in my life and take it further and
sure.
go inside.
Yeah. So you've asked in front of Radha Shamachundra, may they bless you that you can continue as a good devotee. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah.
So my question is, Prabhu, what consciousness one should desire or assist the growth of one's dependent, like a spouse or kids?
Yeah.
I want to assist in their growth in Krishna consciousness. So what should be my consciousness?
That you do it properly first. You set the example, and you'll be happy doing it. Don't be sad and unhappy. Then they will say, I don't want to be like that father or my husband. Look how unhappy he is ever since he went to the Hare Krishna temple. Right? So be happy. Be happy doing it. And be joyful, and don't force your family members to be like you. You can internally desire that, But externally, you have to leave it up to their choice. We are free jivas, we have a freedom of choice. So if they see this quality that comes from you to be so positive and attractive, they would want to do it also. What sane man would not want it, right? Yeah. Hare Krishna. You have to move, otherwise the glare.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for this wonderful sessions. Very grateful,
Yeah.
and I feel really humbled with all the teachings you've done with Maharaj as well. One of my question is that we understand that everyone is different, right? Everyone has different perceptions, different way of thinking. And then when we are, there was a slide, and here this, I think we've heard this in a couple times of the sessions, that do unto others as how you'd like done unto you. But because of this difference in understanding and perception, some people may not like, if I'm a person who likes details and all this. Some people will think it's a waste of time. Let me just do it. Because I want to understand before I approach something. And someone would be like, no, don't do this. It's like, you don't, I've heard the opposite, working in corporate world too, that do unto others as how they would like done. So how do we practically in the congregation, how do we understand that what other person likes? Because we have to treat individuals based on what they like versus...
Well, you can't say what they like all the time, yeah. So you have to define that clearly. Rather, what you said is, how would it help this person? Instead of course, do unto others what they want others to do to themselves, right? You do to.
Yes.
So therefore, if you approach the individual with the desire to help them, the desire to serve them, then there shouldn't be a problem, because then you will ask them, right? Yeah, you'll ask them, is this doable for you? Can you manage this? Okay, I'm going to teach you how to do this. You teach and you find out, is it okay? Is it clear, right? You clarify, and then you adjust according to that individual. Yeah. That should be that, firstly, the genuine interest to help that individual must be there. Then you will know how to adjust.
And then you also said that, we have to ask our mentors. So I'm a person who likes to be told strictly.
You like to?
I like to be told strictly.
Okay, you like to be. So then you can also make it clear to your mentor,
Yeah, but because the mentors are very soft-hearted, and
Yeah.
I always, when I mention my fault to my mentors, they say, it's okay, do this. And I want you to tell me, don't do this.
Yeah.
Scold me.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
So then how do we...
Look for another mentor also. You can have two mentors. You look for...
I think everyone is good-hearted, Prabhu.
No, there will be people who really will chastise you for your well-being, Otherwise, if they are going to say it's okay, then you can say, I'm making more mistakes in this way. But in general, maybe the Lord doesn't feel you're ready to be chastised yet. Maybe it's something to reflect.
I think it's we'll talk later.
No, we don't have time.
Sorry. I think it's how I come off.
Yes.
Because I have a very strong
nature.
Firm nature.
Yeah.
Someone may not feel that, but I want that. And I've discussed that with mentors.
Yeah, chant properly and your desire will be fulfilled.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then you will think again. All right. Is there anything else? Okay, Prabhu. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Yeah.
ISKCON Naperville is very indebted for your association. Very fortunate.
I'm indebted.
Prabhu, patience, tolerance, forbearance seems to be outcomes of bhakti process. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in this lifetime, if I just progress to 1% of bhakti, it is preserved, and I can resume from that subsequent lifetimes. So does it also apply to the qualities of a patient's forbearance, or it is going to change, either increase or decrease? If it should be considered like if it's outcome of bhakti, or in other words, my patience level is going to scale up or it's going to
go down. Is that what you're worried about?
Yeah.
Don't worry. The most important thing is how you surrender to Krishna. Now, accordingly, Krishna will bless you with those qualities. Yeah. Now, don't worry about it. In this life, in this body, you may have to exercise some control over your patience, tolerance, and forbearance. But in the next life, He may give you more opportunity to face a lot of difficulties, and then He may test you to increase those things. Generally, the Lord, when you read in the scripture, He's actually glorifying His devotees by testing them. Yeah. Yeah. So if the Lord wants to glorify you, then you will go through a lot of hell, and you may not want that. So just maintain your sadhana and do service. Surrendering itself is a difficult thing, not just to the Lord, to the authorities also, right? So then you have to bear with all the instructions, and you have to meet all the different gurus. There's how many people in Naperville, temple, 100, 200 devotees, so you have 200 gurus to contend with, everyone giving you different instructions. Tolerate. So sometimes you may wish, I want to become very tolerant, then Krishna will fulfill. Everyone will start telling you what to do. No, you don't want that. But yeah, don't worry about it so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. All right. Is it? Okay. She has a question. Last question.
Thank you. So, I'm very curious, how different is letting go, just letting go, and forgiveness? There's different, right? Difference.
Yeah, letting go, you just don't worry about it. You forgive means in your heart, you don't hold grudge against them.
But will you get the same result karmically,
Karmically?
I've let go this trauma, or I've forgiven.
Karma is very complicated.
Okay.
Even sages don't understand it.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't worry about it.
Will you evolve into the same way?
Depending on whether you are pious or your intention is for the dharmic purposes, yeah.
Okay.
Then you'll make advancement accordingly, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All right. Sri Radhika has a question. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was thinking that before Lord Krishna's advent, Lord Ramachandra as Maryada Purusha, always abiding by Sadachar. And then also in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, we heard of how strict sannyasi dealings. And then it seems like Lord Krishna doesn't bother about good behavior, from stealing to dancing with other men's wives to he even wrestles with the gopis. So it seems, I'm wondering, his last instruction of just surrender unto me, abandon all varieties of religion. What is it Krishna's just testing that beyond all of this, mundane considerations of morality, we can just surrender unto him, whatever his personal behavior is, that is our test of our faith. I don't understand how Sadachar and what Krishna...
Well, Sadachar leads you, the good behavior makes you, if you are not Krishna conscious, it makes you a good person. Piety, and it attracts those things. But if you are connected to Krishna, the same activities attracts Krishna's mercy. Because when you behave nicely to each other, you soften the other person's heart and you attract their mercy. The devotee will think well of you, and the super soul in the heart then recognizes this person is pleasing my devotee, and therefore you get to make a lot of advancement that way. So therefore sadachar is very important. Ordinarily, if you do it to your elders and so on, they give you blessings. So in the same way, when we interact among devotees, the blessings are different. It's the mercy of the Lord. You get to go back to Krishna and no rules. Right? No rules. Here you have to have rules because it's a prison house. So if you do the sadachar, you come to a point where you can get out of this prison house. But you can't actually get out unless a Vaishnava is there to take you out. Okay, thank you. Srila Prabhupada.